This video may be about affirmations for abundance, but it's not your typical affirmation for abundance video. We're going to dive into this a little bit deeper. What does abundance mean? What is an affirmation? What is maybe one of the biggest tips for abundance? We're going to dive into this a little bit deeper. My name's Deb, and I like to share my human experience to hopefully help others gain confidence in their human experience. Right? This place is pretty crazy. We need to know that we're not alone, and we need to talk about the things that people aren't talking about. And we need to talk about the good things and not the bad things, because we just need more good in this world. So let's dive into this a little bit deeper. When it comes to abundance, I feel like that is a universal desire. It is ingrained in nature to grow, to expand, to want, well, I say to want more, but when animals are full, they leave their food. Not all of them, but like my cats, when they're full, they just leave what's there. They're not afraid of running out of abundance. Abundance can mean so many different things. Some people are living in vehicles and definitely don't feel abundant. Some people are living in vehicles by choice and they feel that their life is abundant because it allows them freedom and experiences and the opportunity to travel and meet new people all the time. And then there's people that are living out of their car because they don't have a choice. Because no matter how hard they work, they just can't get enough money for first and last months and a down payment and like all that's life can be crazy and expensive. And by using our words, that's the first tip of what do we mean by affirmations. So when I started, yes, I was searching affirmations for abundance, affirmations for confidence, I was looking up affirmations for everything. And as I went through the affirmations, it was really meditative and interesting to see as you're listening to them. A lot of the times they are words that are words I wouldn't normally use, or things that I definitely, sentences that I would never say on my own. And it did feel nice to hear those be repeated. And even affirmations for self worth. I remember doing those, saying you are valued, your opinions matter. Like hearing those things do something to you. And as you go on a journey of affirmations, you will find that some affirmations make you feel icky. Usually, that is a sign of dysresonance, and that is something that you have a shadow around that you're avoiding to look at. If you're doing affirmations for love or for money and confidence, whatever it is, or even for health, and they say something and then you're like, maybe it's a health and fitness one and it calls you out on a guilty habit and you feel uck in it. Well, then like, yes, that's probably a habit that you will want to investigate and see if you can change it, because obviously it doesn't make you feel good. And ultimately, we want to get to a place where our inner guidance system of feeling good is what's running the show. So with these affirmations, when it comes to abundance, I feel like when I first started listening to affirmations, I was probably in the most abundant era of my life in the sense of financial stability. Wasn't my financial stability per se. No, I had a partner, but it was a great relationship and I feel like everything balanced out well. And that's also what it's about, is not it's about finding abundance in ways that you wouldn't normally look for abundance. In my mind, I was working a part-time job. I was just barely getting started on getting a savings together. I didn't really know what my passion or calling or career was, because at the time, like, my career was a mom. And I knew that it always had to be a mom because the child had one parent. So yeah. Okay. Back to affirmations. Manifesting abundance. And what does manifesting mean? I actually lost a whole, the the dissonance around the word manifesting can make some people really angry, and it can make some people really excited, and it can make some people really lackadaisical. And so you got to find, some people get mad because they think that you have to work hard for things, and they think the word manifesting means that you're not going to be working hard for it. They think it means that you just want to do nothing and have everything come to you, which, what's wrong with that? Who Why would you want to work hard all the time just because someone told you to? Next. Manifesting is not being lazy. Manifesting is being clear on what you want. Manifesting is taking each move that you make throughout the day, each word that comes out of your mouth in regular conversation, in journaling, in prophesizing something. It is intentionally choosing those words. Manifesting is keeping focus on your goal. Manifesting is holding faith that it's going to happen, because there is no other way but for it to happen, because it just is. Manifesting is holding faith. Manifesting is following your soul. Manifesting is listening to the insights and the nudges of telling you when to say yes and when to say no, where to go, when to turn left and when to turn right. Okay. Manifesting is not sitting by idly. It's not that at all. One moment, please. And I do not say this lightly. So again, okay, my story here is, I was engaged. There was a 6-ish year relationship where it felt like everything was amazing, right? And in the end, it started falling apart the more spiritual I became. As I began talking about manifesting and believing in faith and doing things differently because Spirit was telling me to do them differently, all those things triggered my partner so bad, it disconnected the relationship. And I am getting teary-eyed because that was going to be my husband. And my dedication to soul and to Spirit and to God and to following the path dissolved that relationship. It went from wedding plans to over in like less than a month. It was fast. On one side, you could say I quantum shifted into the reality that I was manifesting, because I wanted fun, I wanted connection, I wanted adventure, I wanted to know something different, I wanted to know different ways of being, I wanted to know something that wasn't a work hard, play on the weekends lifestyle. And I found it. I quantum leaped it. I 100% did. Right? I went from being a homesteader on 2.5 acres, but like to adventure world in the middle of the desert, walking on high lines and jumping out of airplanes, right? So like seeing things that I didn't even know existed. I manifested it. But there were different types of abundance. While I was in the stages of beginning my spiritual journey, I was so abundant. My money did not go to a house payment. My money did not go to like everything felt balanced. My money went where it felt it should go. And my energy output felt like it was equal in that of receiving the things that I received of housing. And there's been many years of my life where I haven't paid a mortgage or rent, and I have been housed at the graciousness of others. And that is some pure abundance. And I had abundance of love, I had abundance of healthy food, outdoor activities. When I found affirmations for abundance, I was already abundant. And yet I was following them as if I wasn't abundant. Now I know that there's more I can add in as long as I'm creating a bigger container, but I take time. And this is the biggest thing. The biggest trick to manifesting abundance is gratitude. I didn't see the abundance that I had because I wasn't being grateful for the things I had. And I mean, I guess I was grateful. I was grateful, but now it's in a different way. Now it's in a different connection to God. Now it's in a different way of understanding the path and the ups and downs and the quantum leaps. And man, the more I get better at quantum leaping, the more I do it. And it is painful, mostly because I am meeting amazing people in this world. And every time I quantum leap, I have to leave those people behind. And with the tears, the salt water is very clearing. And I don't want to shove things down because that's how disease happens. But I also don't want to cry because I'm trying to do a video and my makeup's done and I have work I gotta go do. And honestly, everyone's so tired of me crying. And yeah, I'm hitting a deeper level of my spiritual awakening. Every time that I hit a new level of spiritual awakening, whatever relationship I am in dissolves almost instantly. And it's not like a slow going, like some toxic relationships are slow going in the dissolution of them because you get this trauma bond that you have to process and go through. And then secure relationships are usually kind of slow going because it's like you notice, you have your conversations and you slowly kind of exit out, and you have the conversations about it. You discuss like, okay, yeah, this isn't really working, and you come to an understanding and you talk about what does a breakup look like? What are things going to be like going forward? Like you communicate and you respect each other and you try to do what you can to answer both sides' questions, make sure everyone feels good about the situation, and that's that. But sometimes they are just quick, like the rug gets pulled out from underneath you, and quantum shifts can be very painful. So if you're going to be messing around with manifesting abundance and affirmations, be careful what you wish for. Because this journey is no light journey. Pun? It is a light journey. And you do get lighter because you learn to shed the heaviness. It is a beautiful journey. So affirmations are a wonderful tool, but learn that they don't need to be just a YouTube video that you play in your headphones as you're getting ready for work in the day. It can be when you're having conversation with people. Notice your words. Make your conversations of life affirmations to the way you want your entire life to vibrate. Right? Like, we're not going to say, I have to do this, and we're not going to say that's too expensive and I could never do that. We're not going to say those things. Those are the opposite of affirmations. We're going to say things like, everything is always working out for me, and I am always supported. I always have enough love and money. My opinions matter. I can take up space. And these things aren't necessarily to abundance. But the more you feel whole within your soul, abundance is naturally going to be there because we're naturally abundant. And you are more abundant now than you realize. And through finding gratitude, you start to notice the little bits of abundance that you do have and you may not have noticed. There was this 10-day silent meditation course that I went to. You take like 10, basically all the vows of a monk. You're pretty much cut off from the rest of the world. You're not allowed your phone. You don't have books, journaling. You can't exercise. You don't speak. Food, which people use food as a tool to ease their stresses. And when you limit people, no snacks, your food is limited to vegetarian diet, very limited, very specific times of the day. And it's interesting how people react when you take away even food, when you give them what's necessary, but nothing above and beyond. It's pretty interesting. So anyways, during this 10-day, you're meditating for 10 and a half hours a day. It's a very powerful experience. And there was a morning that I noticed I woke up and the first thought on my mind was, thank you for letting me wake up. Thank you for this life. Thank you for another day. And it was, I had been practicing affirmations for, over a decade at this point. And this, well, maybe not a decade, probably just under a decade. Anyways, and I had never fully understand the sense of gratitude until that moment of being thankful of waking up. And I strive to get back to a place of reverence that I was on that morning. I'm life is stressful, and I am that being at that level of resonance can be fleeting. Sometimes it can be an ongoing everyday thing, and sometimes it can be moments of fleetingness. But I mention that because during that 10-day meditation course, I say course because it wasn't a retreat. Like, it's hard. Like, you're learning. It's a course. It's something you have to dedicate yourself to. And I became thankful for waking up. And that had never actually crossed my mind of something that I would feel thankful for. And then at the end of that 10-day experience, they handed us back our phones from our little personal belongings plastic baggie. And I was going through a breakup at the time, and I had said I did not want a message from my boyfriend when I came out of there. I said, please, just for 2 weeks, do not message me. Allow me to message you when I come out first. I don't need any crazy drama. Miss you. I don't need any text, right? So I open my phone and I see his name immediately. And I feel a sense of disgust and annoyance that he crossed that boundary. And then I saw the message. And the message was that someone close to me had died on a plane crash along with 10 or 11 other people. I don't know if the 11 was the total or other. And when you go through 2 weeks of desensitizing yourself, because that's what it was 2 weeks of desensitizing yourself. And then you come out to the news of the only person in the world that understands you. I have never told this story in this depth. And I have told this story many times, and it hasn't triggered me. So I felt like going in depth was necessary for this story, but I guess going in depth is still too strong. The anniversary for it was just a couple days ago. Anyways, when you go from desensitizing yourself to having that experience and knowing that they didn't get to wake up another day, and then it happened during the time frame I was in there, I often question that day that I woke up and felt that gratitude. Was that the day that they crossed over? Was that the day that they didn't get to wake up? And I don't know, because when you're in that experience and you don't have a phone, the days just kind of blur by. Like, you're in there to do surgery on your soul. You're in there to do surgery physically on the energetics of your body. Like, time and days are not really what you're focused on. And that was a life-changing experience for me. And obviously I'm still processing, still experiencing, still looking for the answers of how like what it means. And it's just life and death. Like, what is there an answer? So anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I thank you for witnessing my emotions as they came up. I know it probably is weird to see someone do that on camera, and most people would probably edit that out. I'm not going to edit that out because it's raw and it's real. And that's what Awaken with Deb is. Because as you awaken, things are going to trigger you. Things are going to come up, and it's about allowing it to flow through, but it's also about restabilizing and not spiraling out. So you come back to breath, you ask the situation if there's anything else that you need to know or learn about it. And there's always going to be some, like, it's going to keep coming back, it's going to keep coming out. I've asked to learn. Yeah. Okay. So my name's Deb. Like if you like, comment on what resonated below. Uh, leave some tips if there's any directions and questions that you have about spirituality, about self-improvement, about relationships, about, like, I have, my entire life has been spent in relationships. I'm not much of a single person. I have explored polyamory a little bit, and I am an open, loving source of divinity. But yeah, like, I have children, I have family, I have community. Um, a sage of wisdom. Much love. My name's Deb. Follow, subscribe. Let's bring in this new earth together. Cheers.